Woodkid with Iron, featuring from Assassin's Creed Revelations, which is actually one of the series we'll be talking about on the show in a few months. Before they had Shawn Mendes' There's Nothing Holding Me Back, and The Love Machine from Girls Aloud. And we are here live in the studios in Pembrokeshire, and also live in the depths of Dallas, Texas, with our very special guest, Aaron from Wales in Games. Aaron, welcome to the show. Let's dive straight into this, because this whole thing's all started because it's you are in charge of a website called walesingames.com. This is all based as the idea of featuring our nation of Wales, because, of course, you are a Welsh expat. We can see the dragon behind you proudly displayed on the wall.
Absolutely.
And it basically showcases the amount of times Wales features in video games, because I made a post about this on Reddit years ago asking for people who know some of these references, and I was quite surprised at just how many there are. And now your website is a great catalogue. So let's just dive firstly into that. What inspired you to actually make this website?
It's something I wanted to do for years. I think, like you, passionate Welshman, loves video games. And once you start Googling around, you can see that there are many people that are interested because they're proud of where they come from. They want to be represented in a hobby that they enjoy. So when you're looking around and you're not finding a resource, a solid resource, you want to find that information all in one place. And I just thought, no one's done it before, so let's just create something that'll give people a way to find video games that represent Wales, the Welsh people and the language. And so it's been going for about a year now, and seems to be doing fairly decently, and I'm just hoping that it can grow more and reach more people.
Absolutely, because it is something that we often talk about as people from Wales. We tend to not feature much when it comes to most pop culture references. Oftentimes, it's the usual stereotypical Welsh coal miner or some random bard, or it's someone who's impronounceable in their words, like in Archer, where they featured the Free Wales Army, which was a quite amusing episode, to say the least, talking about Tryweryn and just all the parodies from that. But when it comes to video games, I only thought it was referencing maybe 1 or 2 or 3 games, because I'm a big Destiny fan, so we had in Destiny 1 and 2 with the Pryderi sidearm, which threw me the Uther and hand cannon, which everybody called the Uffernant. And this week we talk about the Uther and hand cannon. I was like, trying not to lose my rack hearing that. But of course, it was surprising just how many others featured the Welsh language or Welsh characters or Welsh locations. And yes. I think out of that, were there any surprises you found when you were looking through some of these options?
Definitely a few surprises. A big one for me was an old PlayStation 1 game called Kudelka. And it was kind of a cross between Resident Evil in the way it played with tank controls and Japanese role-playing games, turn-based battles. And it's the developers from Japan came over to Wales for research, trying to get ideas for the game. And they actually came over to Pembrokeshire. St. David's Cathedral, yes, was a big inspiration behind the designs of the main monastery in the game. So they decided to set the game in Aberystwyth, which you'll be familiar with.
Very much so.
Yes. So although it doesn't take place in Pembrokeshire, the research done for the game was in Pembrokeshire. And so the main character, Kudelka herself, she was supposedly born in Wales, but it's one of those old games where the localization at that time wasn't really taken too seriously. So they have American accents and pronounce things incorrectly. So we'll let them off a bit, because it's you don't get many games that draw inspiration from Wales.
Not from that era either. It's very early.
Yes, it's quite a rare one, I would say.
Because I've never actually heard of the one. I have to see if it's one you can get as a emulating game. Because again, it's surprising how often we do get a lot of Welsh accents or Americans trying to be Welsh we've had over the years. Because in fact, we were just talking about got one of our listeners who tunes in from Pennsylvania, which was originally a Welsh colony. And in fact, there's a lot of Welsh names. Like, turns out he was born in Bangor, and I was born in Bangor, but it was just the different Bangors. Because it's funny enough, he looked at me like I was the second coming of Jesus Christ when I said, well, where are the slate quarries? And so, how do you know that? Well, they're all from our end.
Yes, exactly.
You hear the pronunciations of some of these places like Bangor or Haverford, which is where we are in Haverford West. It has that name in Philadelphia. it's amazing how much the diaspora of Welsh spread out. So you have the Patagonias, we've got New South Wales, and oftentimes people like to go back to that. In fact, we had Stephen Anastasov last week talked about his brand new game that's coming out next year, the Tales from the Mabinogion. And that had some amazing stuff linked to that, where people want to go back to their Welsh cultural roots. And it has been a huge factor with that, where we've had people want to make more games now. We've seen a lot more increase in recent years, where it's not just the accents or the national anthems, because oftentimes the one time we always feature is in the football games.
The football games, thankfully, now that we normally qualify for major tournaments, we were definitely overlooked for a period of time.
Yes.
But yes, so it's great that we're now a staple in football games. But you're right. It seems that maybe developers have exhausted certain accents and regions, and Wales is extremely popular when it comes to developing movies, you know, the location of it. And it's nice to finally see that it's been used a lot more within video games and being able to draw inspiration from. And obviously, you know, Wales is a country with a rich history. So some of the earliest written stories in Britain were written in Welsh, because Welsh is one of the oldest languages still going today. So the Tales of the Mabinogion is one that draws a lot of inspiration from the Mabinogion itself, which is all about Welsh mythology. And it's great to really see people going back to their roots and hopefully promoting Wales, which is exactly what this website is about. And you know, hopefully we can get better representation with some main characters that are Welsh and not just side characters with a stereotypical South Walian accent and shouting boyo everywhere. And you know, there's more to our country than just that. And it's nice to have those little representations here and there. It's great, but I think we deserve a lot better as Welsh people, because we are a diverse country, and you know, there's people want to be represented. And we want Wales to be seen and not just be a little side character or a little side arc in a one chapter of a game, you know. So it's nice that indie developers in particular are really trying to draw from Wales and its rich history.
So speaking of that, actually, we're going to be talking about representation a little bit more in depth in a few moments, about some of the ones from Pembrokeshire, including one person. We actually had a comment from some of our listeners in the promo before the show about a certain Assassin's Creed game, which features a character from about 50 miles north from where I'm sitting at the moment, and did a lot of piracy around, well, the coastline from your neck of the woods, actually, down in the Caribbean. So we have that coming up. And also we're going to have a song that also features some Welsh in their series titles as well, because we're going to go a little bit special in a few months. First, though, it's going to be Live and Let Die with the Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark. But first, though, it's going to be Anne-Marie and Little Mix with Kiss My Uh-Oh. And we'll be back in a few moments here on Pure West Radio.
Mags Optics Haverfordwest are the proud sponsors of the Sunday Gaming Show on Pure West Radio.